Oh, hey, that doesn't sound right. Alright, now I've got the liquid cooler out of the box and got all the cables loose. Because it's going on the roof, we can actually leave the fans pre-installed in the way they are. If I was mounting it onto the front here and sandwiching it, I'd have to take those fans off, but because we're going to the roof, we don't need to worry about that. So we can just pop it up, hold it, screw it in, and yeah, these are all daisy chained as well. So one cable coming off, so that's very nice. So let's get it in position and we'll screw it in. And as I've mentioned before, be very careful around the radiator fins. They're very delicate, and you can actually damage them by quite easily, so don't let anything impact that area. So I just realized luckily it's only at the very beginning, but you want to have your hoses this side because you might want a fan over this side. So let's just take that off. Alright, so this is where you can adjust where it sits, because these are all slotted, so we can just loosen it slightly. And we can slide it up. Alright, that's about where I want it. So I'll lock it down. Alright, so we'll screw this up now. Alright, liquid cooler radiator is mounted. We don't need to do anything else up here. I'll put the little lid back on, which just clips in. Like so. So now we'll mount the head. So to mount the liquid cooler, I'm going to lie it down again because it's a lot safer to do it that way. And we'll get some paste on here, and then yeah, we'll screw that down.
A few moments later.
Alright, so you can see what I'm doing. So with your liquid cooler head, always remember to take the peel off, otherwise it's not going to cool very well because it won't be able to contact the copper to the CPU. So probably with this one I'm going to just put it directly on the CPU, and that way we only get paste where we need it. And I use a little spatula to do mine. I just find it gives you a nice even spread, and you don't need to make it super thick. Alright, so now we can put the liquid cooler and head in place. So when I do these, I tend to just figure out which way the head wants to sort of sit in it. It seems to want to go like this, so I'm going to go with that. But yeah, that's going to look really good. Alright. Now, I don't ever do these super tight, and I always go diagonals. You want even pressure. Yeah, we want it to stay even, so the head comes down nice and flat onto the paste. that's on, and I used a nut level 2, so you don't need to crank it and smash it down so hard that it actually damages stuff. Liquid cooler heads in, so then we just run the ARGB and the fan. So on here, the CPU fan is over there, so we'll just run this up. What I sometimes do is I may run the cable out the back and then back in just to try and hide it more. So the ARGB, there's 2 headers, there's one up here and one down there, so I probably want to put the fan one here, so I might try and run this one down here. Now we'll just run down here and then we'll connect it down there, and we'll use the other one for the fans. And this one I think we'll run up here. So this is actually, sorry, this is the pump. So there's a white connector there for the pump. So I'll connect that to the pump. There we go. So pump connection in. Cool. So liquid cooler's almost ready, which means I'm almost ready for the graphics card. Looking at what else needs to be connected, I think it's actually safe for us to connect the graphics card now while I got it laying down, because it's not a good idea to try and install your graphics card when the computer is vertical. You're just asking to break your card. This doesn't have the lovely release switch, it's got the traditional clip thing. Alright, we'll get rid of these blanking plates. Actually, I'll go find out what the card requires first. Alright, so I can see the card is a 2-slot card, so that means we just need to remove not the first one, because that's above where the card goes, but the next 2 down need to come out. Alright, so we've got the slot ready. I'll just get the peels off this graphics card. Okay, so we got the nice Ventus 3X graphics card. Click. We're in. I'll just double check the back of here, make sure it's all good. And no, we're not good, because the ARGB cable managed to sneak its way down there and get in the way. Of course. Let's try that again. And that went in a lot easier. I wonder why. Okay, so now we'll lock it down. And down here you can see the anti-sag bracket. So I'll probably just have to adjust that slightly. But yeah, it is right on the end of the card, which is not ideal, but as I said at the beginning of the video, it's better than nothing. Alright, anti-sag bracket is now tight, and the only thing left is to plug in our high power 12 volt. Remember, this cable, you don't want to bend it anywhere until you're about an inch in, like that, if possible, and that way you avoid melting sockets. The only concern I got is this cable getting into those fans, but I think if we route it correctly and it won't move and it'll be fine. Alright, so graphics card is in. So all I got to do now is connect the fans on the back to, or connect the fans to the fan headers, and then we can turn this thing on and see if it boots. Alright, I'll be back.
I'm back.
Alright, I've got it all in place now, and I've hooked up all the fans and the ARGB, so we're good to give it the first turn on. I've hooked it up to the power here, and I made sure it was switched on in there, and I've replaced that panel because I don't need to muck around under there anymore. Hooked it up to my brand new KVM that I got yesterday. My old one was playing up. It was an old DVI based one. So now we're onto the nice modern HDMI, which is great. I'll switch it over to get ready. Yep. Alright, let's see what we get. Hey, that doesn't sound right. It looks like we got a Ratley fan on up the top here. That's pretty crap. Let me just disconnect the front fans. Let's see if that's what it is. Yep. So the brand new Lian Li fans on the front of this case, one of them is defective and is rattling. Not a good look, so not sure what I can do about that. Appears to be that top one, but as for the computer, it is booting up and it's at the BIOS screen as we speak, so the rest of it is fine. Just this fan here. So I'm gonna just fiddle around with this and see if it's just like I need to unscrew it, adjust it, and then it'll be okay. We'll find out, or whether I need to replace this fan because it's defective. Alright, I'll be back shortly.
Much later.
Alright, I removed the fans out of the front. It was a little bit of a muck around because, and yeah, this top fan has got a noisy bearing. It doesn't matter when you spin it in the case, it starts going and I tried sort of wiggling it a bit, and nah, she just keeps grinding. So unfortunately we got a brand new fan that's faulty out of the box, which is very disappointing. And this is like the second time out of all my builds I've done where I've had a Lian Li fan fail. The very first build I did on my YouTube channel was for like a $12,000 computer, and they had Lian Li fans with a LED screen on the middle, and what happened was the actual lighting on it was defective and half the LEDs didn't light up on one fan, and that was straight out of the box as well. So a bit disappointing, because now I can't give it to the customer like that. They'll just bring it back very quickly and complain about it. So what I'll have to do is contact the supplier. The problem is it's part of the case, so they're probably going to want the whole case back. I'm probably going to just wear the cost and find another kit of 140mm fans and just chuck them in, because that's just going to be way quicker and easier than trying to pull all this apart, put it back in the box and give it to the supplier. It's just not worth it, my trouble. So I'm going to go online and see if I can find some replacement 140mm. I may or may not get Lian Li, because if this is going to be a problem, then I don't want to put another set of Lian Li and just have it happen again. But might do a little bit of research, see if other people have this problem, and if I see a pattern, then yeah, I'll be definitely avoiding the fans and getting a different brand. Alright, well I'll come back to you when I've figured it all out and when I've got some replacements. Alright, see you then. Alright everyone, it's a couple of days later and it's a Sunday evening for me, and in the end I managed to get some fans to replace the ones in the front because the Lian Li Infinity 140mm fans that come with the case were defective. I've actually gone for a Thermaltake replacement, a CT140 ARGB fan kit. Comes with 2 fans, and that cost me about $53 on Amazon. And I've gone with that rather than trying to submit the case for warranty, mainly because when I went online and researched the issue, there's a lot of people with the LanCool 207 having noisy front fans, so not a good look. These Infinity fans that come with it are also super expensive. They're charging like nearly $43 or more per fan. So for me to replace with Lian Li again would be super expensive. I also read online that people that did submit warranties were having the same problem come back again in a couple of months, and this all feeds into my kind of view or opinion on Lian Li fans, especially the ones with RGB on them. And even though they're a premium, or seen as a premium PC component company, their fans have some major quality control issues. So personally I tend to avoid them, and I should have thought about this when I bought this case, that I should have just gone for the case without the fans in it. But hey, you learn your lessons. But this case too, people are reporting they get sort of like a resonance vibration, and after I put the Thermaltake fans in there, before I tune the fans to a certain RPM, I actually experienced this resonance. It's like the case resonates to the fans, and I think it's to do with the way the front fans mount, because it's not like the usual slots that you normally get where you got like a slotted piece where you can put your screws in and then shift your fan around. They've actually just got like 4 points that stick out, and I've got a feeling by doing that, and the fact that it's 140mm, so it's quite a distance, it's actually generating this resonating issue. So unfortunately, this is a rare case for the actual Lian Li cases. I'd probably say give this case a miss, mainly because of those problems. So it also means that you can only put a liquid cooler on the roof. You wouldn't be able to mount one on the front very easily because of the way they've designed the connection for fans. So yeah, probably going to say yeah, just give this one a miss. A lot of the other Lian Li LanCool cases are great, so I think it's just this particular design, even though it seems like it's really intuitive and it actually was a lot easier to cable manage. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing. Hasn't really worked out, but we've got the problem solved by changing the fan and tuning the fan speeds. So in the end it's going to be fine, but something that I would probably avoid if I could Anyway, the next thing we're going to do is some benchies, so that'll be the next thing, and I'll see you soon once I've got those set up.